three relationships that define almost everything that happens to us in our lives: the relationship we have with money, the relationship we have with time, the relationship we have with ourselves. No one expects a CA to make a visually colorful resume. No one expects a musician to send an Excel sheet proposal. No one expects an engineer to send a video resume, which is why they should consider doing it. Fighting the stereotype is a great way to get attention. If you send a resume that is not how your resume must be, but rather how you are, most companies would react in two ways. They would either hate it or they would remember you. Both are good signs, as now the companies select going by who is worthy of you and which ones are those you shouldn't be working with. What if I get rejected? But what if you get rejected from the place where you are supposed to be an original and you try to fit it by sending a standard resume? Being yourself is the coolest way to get attention, which is scary for most people, which is the reason most people don't. There is temporary discomfort in doing the unconventional. There is a permanent discomfort in living life as a template. It is going to be scary and uncomfortable walking your own path. Guess what's even more scary? To walk by the path that everyone walks on, only to realize you never wanted to walk on that path. It is needed a lot of resistance to break the chains of convention and do your own thing. However, it saves you from a ton of inner resistance for the rest of your life, allowing for the path you could take, the regrets you could avoid, and the joy you could accomplish. Just by doing the unconventional and resisting the obvious, you can be yourself and be rebuked for a year. Or you can be someone else and never face yourself in the mirror. Why choose the latter when the former is the easy springboard to jump away from the herd? While you are building your skills, the most important thing to build is your reputation. Your goal is to make people say, "I'm not sure if she knows how to do it, but I'm certain if told to do it, she will definitely figure it out. I trust her." Mistakes I made in my 20s. Mistake 1. I continued to pursue my education because I was good at it without even asking myself if it made me happy. Just because you are good at something doesn't automatically ensure you are happy doing it. Mistake 2. I looked down upon people who used to smoke or drink or party every weekend. I felt they were losers and the reason to bring the world down. It is not what you do, but who you are underneath that defines you. Mistake 3. I read books that made me look cool without truly understanding what I could learn from those books until much later in life. People do not remember you for the company you keep. They remember you for who you become because of that company. Mistake 4. I felt morally obligated to help everyone in distress. And if they continued to remain unhappy, I blamed myself. The best gift you can give yourself and to others is to take care of your own happiness. Mistake 5. I felt the lack of money was the root cause of all our family problems. And once we have money, we would no longer have any problem. Our problems are the stories we tell ourselves of how everything will be fine once we get what we want. Mistake 6. I felt that rich kids would never make it in life because they got everything on a platter and did not know how to struggle. Their privilege would always harm them. It is not the privilege that harms us. It is our lack of awareness of our own privilege that harms us. Mistake 7. I ate shit, slept odd hours, maintained bad posture while constantly telling myself that I have tomorrow to fix all of this. An excuse is the distance between who you are and who you wish to be. Mistake 8. I really tried hard to please people. I wanted them to like me, to think highly of me, to speak highly of me. If your happiness depends on external validation, then your happiness depends on something you do not control. Mistake 9. I took loans because I didn't have money yet. And I kept telling myself, but I will have money in the future and that's why it is okay. If you do not have the money to pay for something right now, you do not have the money. Mistake 10. I didn't think subjective topics such as psychology, business ethics, or human resources were needed or even important. Business is all about finance and marketing. Business is all about people, how well you know them and how you treat them. Mistake 11. I assumed if I speak well and speak confidently, it would cover up for the lack of content I have. You cannot lie on stage, the audience will always know what is within your heart. Mistake 12. If people approached me with their problems, my job was to determine whether the problem was worthy my time or not. And if it was, then my job was to fix it. Listening to someone without judgment or prescription is the most precious gift you can give someone. Mistake 13. I need to have a plan. A plan is the only way to get to any point in life. If you do not have a plan, you do not have any chance of getting anywhere. To not have a plan and be okay with it is the best plan. Mistake 14. I looked around and saw that everything was designed to make our life comfortable, and so I assumed the purpose of life was to make life comfortable. Avoiding the comfort trap is the difference between who you are and who you could have been. Mistake 15. If I said something, wrote something, shared something, I felt dejected when no one cared, when no one responded, when no one commented. No one owes you their time and money. You earn it every day by the work you do. Mistake 16. I had to make money fast, buy my parents that house, buy that fancy car, that vacation. I had to make money fast to buy stuff. Money can buy you stuff, but the biggest thing it buys is freedom, including freedom from stuff. Mistake 17. I assumed if you work hard, really hard, you would eventually win. Working hard is the only thing that matters. What you work on is just as important as how much you work on it. Even donkeys work hard. Working smart is the difference between a donkey and a human. Mistake 18. I blamed myself for being late in the game. At 29, I was jobless with no money, no plan, and no clue. I remember looking at Mark Zuckerberg and feeling shitty. Everyone is running a different race. In fact, we are not even in a race. We are on our own paths. Some walk, some run. Mistake 19. I assumed my work would speak for me. If I did well, people would give me what I deserved and what I wanted. I never asked for what I wanted. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. 90% of what happened to me in my 20s was because of luck. I'm that guy who was at the right place at the right time and lucked out. And as much as I am grateful for that, I wish I had known better. Today, I know the 20s should be used to discover yourself as against stabilizing yourself. Meet as many people as you can, do as many jobs as you can, explore as many streams as you can. Find out what you are good at and what makes you happy. And then spend your 30s doing that. I am embarrassed at who I was in my 20s. The underconfident, people pleasing, overweight, stuck on one path, bad with money, judgmental kid. But I'm glad I was all of that because now I know who I do not want to be. I wish everyone could get rich and famous and everything they ever dreamed of so they can see that's not the answer. Said by Jim Carrey. Mistakes I made in my 30s. Mistake 1. I hired people with strong pedigree and great brands on their resume, ignoring how they operated as people. I assumed their degree would drive their success. As you grow professionally, it is not what you know, but how you deal with people that determines your success. Mistake 2. I told myself that relationships can wait. That call to my parents can wait. Saying I love you to my wife and kids can wait. Spending time with them without my phone can wait. I told myself I don't have the time. Time is the only thing that matters. Everything else can wait. Mistake 3. I managed everyone the same way. My way. The way that was easy for me, scalable for me, convenient for me. If there is anything that should not scale with size, it is leadership. It should get harder for you to lead as you grow because people are different. They are not you. Mistake 4. I felt having a second child would be a disaster. It would make me feel even more guilty for not being present as a father to our son. When you don't have anyone, you have your siblings, and that's something you don't ask for. Your parents give you that gift. Mistake 5. I put all my savings into liquid assets, real estate, startups. And when we went through financial turmoil, we lived like urban poor, selling jewelry to make ends meet. It is easy to cut a check only when you see money come off it. Do you call it an investment? Mistake 6. I assumed everyone's definition of and motivation for success is the same, that of glory, that of respect, that of inspiring others. Everyone has a different definition of success. And only if your work sets other people up for their success will you be successful yourself. Mistake 7. After the birth of our first child, I felt I lost my partner to my son's mother. I missed my friend, my confidant, because she was always busy rearing our child. It is only when both parents contribute in raising their child that they keep their partnership alive. Mistake 8. I felt bad once all the awards stopped coming my way after I started nearby. When I had an easy job at Groupon, I was spoken of. When I worked the hardest ever, no one noticed. The awards are never for us, they are for the positions we hold. Mistake 9. I felt venture capitalists were in the business of building businesses together with the founders, and our interests were thus aligned. Venture capitalists are in the business of entering and exiting businesses, and that often means the interests will eventually clash. Mistake 10. I was convinced I would do well financially if I became an entrepreneur. I would raise tons of money and be worth millions. Never start up because you want to make money from it. The odds of making the same money through a boring professional career is much higher. Mistake 11. I assumed people would be okay if we laid them off and found them another job. No. Laying people off is rarely about the job, it is about their self-respect. Mistake 12. I maxed my credit cards, borrowed money from friends, delayed my payments just so I could continue to maintain the lifestyle that I had. I felt going down on that was a sign of failure. Mistake 13. I thought that no one wants to be led. Everyone wants to do their own thing, so let them. Not true. 99% of people want to be led. They want to be told what to do and then they will go on to do their best. They want to be led, not managed. Mistake 14. I allowed my irrational optimism about the future take over the need to be deliberate and thoughtful before making decisions. I assumed an everything will be okay approach towards everything. Hope is not a strategy. In my 20s, I dropped out of my PhD, finished an MBA, worked in consulting, earning a lot, started up with some success, had founder conflicts that led me to leave. At 29, I was jobless with no money, no plans, and no visibility. But I learned a lot. In my 30s, I started 2 businesses, raised money, laid off people, made absolutely no money for myself and my investors, made poor people decisions, and wasn't a good father. At 39, I was again jobless with no money, no plans, and no visibility. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I am fortunate that my 30s were much better than my 20s when it comes to the mistake that I made and the impact they had on me. As the decade passed, I realized what is truly important in life. It wasn't money for me, or fame, or recognition. It was the ability to do what I wanted to without caring about what the world thinks of me. I made a lot of mistakes on my way to arrive at this definition of success, and I consider myself fortunate. If it weren't for these mistakes, I would still be an ill-aware 41-year-old adult who knows nothing better than a 5-year-old does. Reflecting upon my mistakes has taught me the most about myself. I hope it does the same magic for you too. My failure resume. I turned 41 in 2021. Here is a list of things I have failed at. My failure resume. Getting into the IITs was a dream. I tried it during my 12th. Didn't make it, not even close. It was the first time I saw my father cry. I am guessing he felt this would be the one that will get us out of our financial miseries. I don't know. I never asked him why he cried that day. I didn't make it to any engineering college. none that mattered that I wanted to get into. So I decided to go for a 3-year BSc degree from St. Stephen's. I was rejected at the interview stage. Dr. Wilson said, "I don't think you will be good in physics." Tried again for the IITs while in first year of college. Didn't make it, not even close. This time no one cried, not even me. Maybe I knew it all along. Once college was over, I decided to go to the IITs for my masters in physics. Sat for the exam, didn't make it to any except IIT Kanpur, which called me for an interview. Dr. H.C. Verma asked me a question I didn't even know how to begin to answer. I apologized and left the room. Began applying to the US universities for my PhD in physics. Princeton was the top university that I wanted to get into. Applied to 7 universities in all. Within a month, 6 of them had rejected me. Joined the only university that accepted me. One particular course's final exam. The professor asked the rationale behind a theorem. I vomited the entire proof. No errors. Heard back. Haven't seen anyone remember this so well. I wonder how much of it you truly understand. Dropped out of my PhD, came back to India. Everyone was devastated. I was 24, no money, no plan, no direction, no career, no education. Decided to do an MBA to change direction. Sat for CAT to get into IIMs. Didn't make it to the interview shortlist of any of them. None. Got into Indian School of Business. Till date, do not know how or why. Figured consulting is what will give me the most exposure considering I didn't any experience to be proud of. Applied to all consulting firms. Everyone rejected except Boston Consulting Group and A.T. Kearney. Sat for the BCG interview. The interviewer at the end of the conversation asked, "How much would you rate your performance today on a scale of 5? 2 out of 5, I guess." "I would agree," he replied. For my first project in consulting, I was to build a detailed business plan for a real estate client. I hated accounting and did a sloppy job of it. Every draft was laden with mistakes. "If I can't trust you with your work, it doesn't matter how smart you are," my manager remarked. Joined my MBA batch mate in his startup as a co-founder. I didn't use technology to scale, kept fighting problems with my time, didn't admit my mistakes, didn't seek feedback, didn't think I was doing anything wrong. After a year, he fired me. He did the right thing. I was 29. No money, no plan, no direction. Decided to take up a job and thought project management was the right role for me. Applied to Google and Facebook. Never heard back from either. Decided to start up instead. A food company. Pitched to Indian Angel Network, Mumbai Angels and 11 high net worth individuals. Everyone rejected the idea. At that time I thought everyone rejected me. Got the opportunity to run some of Groupon's epic markets. Didn't know how to delegate. Didn't know how to lead from a distance. Didn't know how to get results through others. Failed miserably as a leader and manager. Got the opportunity to buy Groupon's India business by raising external capital. Pitched to 23 venture capitalists across the world. 22 said no. Launched a referral program on Nearby without the checks and balances. Lost rupees 11 crore in a month. Thought the growth, even if unprofitable, would excite investors. So money would eventually come. Running fast out of money, we had to reduce our burn. Laid off 80 people out of 300. Stood in front of the company apologizing and crying. I had failed everyone and myself. In my irrational optimism, we had signed up for a much larger office than required after the buyout. With no money, we began subleasing the office. Once the lease expired, we had to vacate, leaving our tenants high and dry. They thought we would never leave. I did too. Began the process of fundraising again, pitched to 68 investors across the world. 67 refused. One gave us a term sheet and withdrew before we signed. All this while we took salary cuts to reduce our losses. And my personal expenses were greater than the income. I had no savings. All my savings had been invested in Nearby. I had to borrow from friends. Both my credit cards maxed out.